a girl in this Russian field who went to sleep in the middle of the wheat field while the community people around her mother were working. It was harvest season, and there were many people in this expanse of acres of land. They were all busy harvesting, and this little girl who was along with her mother, who was walking along with her mother, and got tired and fell asleep in the wheat field. After some time, when she woke up, she was not able to find her mother, and she was so shocked. She was terrified because she was, I think, just 7, 8 years or so. And she says, "Where's my mother? Where's my mother?" And she kept crying, and she kept looking around and screaming. And everybody around was so moved. They felt so helpless. They kept asking her, "Who's your mother? What is her name?" Because she was not able to find her mother, and her mother was really not around. And as the community people there, all those farmers and their wives and all who were there trying to comfort this girl, help her find her mother, they asked her, "Who's your mother? What does she look like? Tell us." So this girl didn't know her mother's name because she always called her mom or mother. So she said, "My mother is the most beautiful woman in this world." So the moment she said that, they went around looking for the most beautiful girls, ladies over there. They went and brought out, conventionally fair, tall, slim, however, they thought all the pretty women they pulled and brought them from different corners of that land. But this girl was inconsolable. "No, no, this is not the one. She's the most beautiful woman in the world." She kept saying, "Bring my mother." And everybody were helpless. Like they was trying to seek out the most beautiful women around from around, but it was not so. Suddenly, from one corner of the field, a woman comes yelling, wailing, crying, "My daughter, my daughter!" And this woman was nothing, as terms of conventional beautiful. She was short, she was plump, she had brown rugged cheeks, she had squinty eyes, her teeth were irregular, coming out. She was not at all in any sense beautiful. This woman came and this girl ran, "My mother!" And both of them cried and kissed each other and all that. And all the villagers there, they also had a laugh, but they understood that, for any child, their mother is the most beautiful woman in the world, because that's like the first face they see, the face of love and care and nurture that continues with them, for a life. And there are no words to describe a relationship a child has with their mother. It's so strong, it's so powerful. Scarcely is there any comparison of any other relationship like a mother has with her children. Yeah, and yeah, but yet it is important to argue that motherhood is not about somebody being a woman. It's not about gender really. It's not about even a biological connection that you're given birth and so you're a mother. Motherhood is actually a role and responsibility given, yeah, to people to be fulfilled. For example, there are cases where there are fathers who are who are looking after their little children because either the mother has passed away or the mother is away at work. I know some people where the women are working abroad and the father is actually playing the role of mother. And then of course there are some cases of people moving away, separating, or somebody being irresponsible, where the father does everything. He bathes, he cares for the children, he takes them to school. So the father is playing the role of the mother. And also, then there are cases where both parents have died. So the uncle and auntie step up and they take up the parental role. So there's a father, mother. So mother can be an aunt and uncle. It can be adopted people. Sometimes motherhood, a child who doesn't have a mother can look at a teacher as a teacher, one teacher who's caring, and she becomes the motherly figure in the child's life. Yeah. Sometimes a caretaker. There are so many kids who are so close to their caretakers, sometimes even more than mothers, because the mothers have always been away. So the caretaker becomes a mother figure. Yeah. And so that's so so motherhood is actually, and of course, then there are adopted parents also, parents who adopt a child also who then become their mother and father. So motherhood is not specifically because of a gender or a biological connection that we can say. It's just anybody who takes up the responsibility of loving and caring for a child is becomes the mother. And it is also in the Bible, uh, even God is described himself as a mother. Yeah, it is. There are several verses that shows God's maternal care towards His people. In Deuteronomy 32 verse 11, it is said, "God cares for His people like an eagle hovering over her young ones." In Psalms 22 9 to 10, it is said, "God is concerned for His people like a midwife cares for the child she is delivered." Yeah. In Isaiah 49:15, it says, God will never forget his children like a mother will not forget their nursing child. In fact, it is said, even though a mother may forget a baby by her side nursing, but I will not forget you. God's love is in the line of mother, but it's more intense than that, even that. God comforts his people like a nursing mother. Isaiah 66:13. And Hosea 13:8 says, God is portrayed like a mama bear who's robbed of her children. And so there's rage. I will call upon them, a bear robbed of her, like I will fall upon them, sorry, I will fall upon them like a bear robbed of her cubs and will tear open the covering of their heart. That's the rage, so the love and the rage of a mother are both really powerful things here. John 3:16, for God so loved and gave his only begotten son. That word begotten is also interpreted by some commentators as a baby by the breast of a mother. So close and intimate is God's connection. The bosom, they say, was God's relationship with Jesus. And uh, yeah, so and Jesus himself describes his agony over the stubbornness of the Jewish people by saying this in Luke 13:34. He says, "O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, the city that kills the prophets and stones those who are sent to it, how often would I have gathered your children together as a hen gathers her brood under her wings, and you were not willing." The imagery here is of a hen gathering her mother. So that's how often I've tried to gather you, but you're not willing, like a hen. Yeah. Uh, Jesus has spoken to his disciples when he's going away, before the crucifixion. He's telling, in this world you will have trouble, you will suffer, you will be persecuted. And in that he says, John 16:21, a woman has pain in childbirth because a time has come. But when she brings forth her child, she forgets her anguish because of her joy that a child has been born into this world. Yeah, so that's how it will be for us. We will suffer, but one day we will be out of it, because the joy of what we will receive, the future glory that will be revealed, will be so powerful that we will not even we will be able to forget the pain and suffering that we endured in this world. How amazing is that? Just think about the extent of joy we are going to have. Yeah. And Paul talks about his connection with newborn Christians. That's also in a maternal way. Paul talks about his church members in Galatia. He says, 4:19, Galatians 4:19, my dear children, for whom I again in the pains of childbirth until Christ is formed in you. I take pains as if a mother giving birth to a child, pushing till the child is born. That's how I toil and labor for you so that Christ is formed inside of you. How amazing is that image? You just think about that, yeah? 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 7, Paul and Silas and Timothy describe their conduct among the believers. We are gentle among you, the way we love you, the way we care for you, like a nursing mother taking care of her own children. That is how we love you, that is how we care for you. Now, in common culture or popular media, mother's love is venerated. It is often put on the pedestal, their love and sacrifice. And one of the, I think, Islam sayings is that "Maa ke kadmon mein jannat hoti hai." This heaven that dwells at a mother's feet, and just to, and I mean, of course, we don't worship motherhood, but it is something that is so highly respected and regarded in almost every culture and religion, because just the sheer commitment and the sacrifice, the dedication that goes into that is so powerful, is so amazing. I mean, imagine from the time the baby is conceived, the mother has to start sacrifice, even till even before the time the baby is born. There are so many mothers who cannot eat certain food, they because that food is not good for the baby, or they have to really, torture themselves to keep the baby healthy. They cannot take certain medicine, and they have to suffer because those medications won't be good. I mean, who does that really? I mean, from the men's perspective, it is so inconceivable how women who can give their all to nurture a baby in their womb, to care for them. And then who can forget those sleepless nights in when the baby is born, and babies don't sleep. I mean, every 1 hour, 2 hour, they require feeding, they have to get up and do that, in the diapers, and then also the stress of not ever resting in your mind. I mean, forget sleep, but not letting your guard down, because kids are so vulnerable when they're crawling, when they're running around. They can get under some bed, hurt themselves, go outside the balcony. I mean, I just saw. I mean, I think in the papers you must have seen a mother who just when a baby was in the swimming pool in the kids section, she went to eat something just for 1 or 2 minutes, and the baby crawled out of the kids section and went into the deep, and the baby dropped in. And just that's I mean, just imagine how much the mother will now blame herself for. But that's how it is. They have to be 24/7 alert, looking after the kids, that this kid goes out of sight. Men are too. I'm not saying men also make sacrifice. I really respect men, and I think they are under appreciated, definitely. But mothers, because of their connection, physical connection, and the social role given to them, are so much tied. As men go out and work, women are looking after kids, and so it is so amazing, the kind of, and they will not eat, they will give their share to their kids, and all of that. It's so, I mean, you cannot fathom that kind of care. It flows out so naturally, and I can't even imagine that it gives them joy to starve themselves and feed their kids. Gives them joy. The pleasure is in that. And how crazy does that sound? But that's how crazy mothers are. They just love their kids so much intensely. The hard work they put in, the dedication that goes, and I was just telling, remembering my own mom, how she, I asked her even back in the journey also just now, that me and my brother were very small, so she was a working mother. My father used to leave early, and there was no relatives. We had relatives, but in another space, a little away. So she had to get up, cook, and rush to office. She would pick up both of us, just put us in the bathroom and put things in the gas, come back, brush and put splash water, again go back to this opposite kitchen in a small room and just get us ready, and then one of my younger uncle will come and he will drop and then rush to office herself and come back, and then even that she used to coordinate to bring us back from tuitions, or she used to go physically also. Breathtaking. Just to think about it, it's so tiring how mothers do that day after day and week after week, and they don't get appreciated at all, and often get blamed also very easily and very quickly if the kid does something wrong for the academic performance or any kind of social embarrassment. Everybody points finger mostly to their mothers. So that is how it is. It's such an, I mean, you give your all and you're not even appreciated. You don't even receive the recognition for that. Yeah. So motherhood is amazing. It is like nothing else in this world. There are many challenges. Yeah, motherhood is not a perfect world. There are many challenges in that. The Bible gives examples of the challenges, the adversities mothers face. There was Eve who loved her children, but she was not able to stop her one child from killing the other. Rebecca, Isaac's wife, who struggled with favoritism of having over one son. Jacob was close to it, and Esau, and so she was able to give this advice for Jacob to run, and the favoritism kicked in, and that's what happened. Jochebed, amazing mother, caring mother who gave birth to her son, but to save his life, she had to sacrifice, in the sense she had to give him up and watch him grow before her eyes as somebody else's mother. What an amazing dedication and sacrifice. Yeah, and of course, then there was Hannah who did not have children. She comes, she prays to God, and God gives her a child, and she has to give that child back, as a piece. So, I mean, just the intensity, the sacrifices mothers have made, and they're not perfect. They have made mistakes. And who can forget Mary, the earthly mother of Jesus? At a tender age, when she was supposed to be in her teens, she takes up the responsibility, that is tough call, to be an unwed mother, uh, ready to become pregnant. I mean, it's unheard of. That kind of courage, that kind of jigra, hard to have. To say that I'll be. I mean, in a patriarchal society, when they were, when women being stoned to death was not far away, although it was not happening at that time because of Roman rule, but this was part of their custom to that. Women were so much hated for being unwed, they could be stoned to death. And to take that up, and not just that, but sometimes death is easier, but to live with shame and dignity, it's far more tough. And for her to be willing to submit to God's call, to be willing to lose her husband, to be willing to lose her social status, get her parents to shame, family to shame, to say yes to that, it was powerful, powerful that she actually did. Yeah, but here she is, and the angel said, as she is contemplating these things, that that you will be a mother to God's son and all of that. And then next moment we see her rushing and panicking. One time she's pondering this upon her into her, and the next time she's panicking because Jesus is not in sight. He's around 12-year-old, and he's trying to search for him. Where is he? Where is he? God's child is lost. How can that be actually? But then she's panicking. So, from being this tough woman who takes them, being a woman who's vulnerable, confused, scared, running helter skelter, trying to find her kid, and then her relationship with Jesus was also where when he's grown, that she trusted and believed in her son, and so she says that she trusts in God's promise and encouraged him to even though he was reluctant that, this is not my time, she says, no, do as he says. This was at the wedding at Cana, and she knows that he can do, and so she puts her trust in him, and she kind of puts him on the spot there to do it, and he does it. Yeah. And on the other hand, so that's his great faith in her son, his ability. On the other hand, and this is something that slips a lot of our attention, okay? When Jesus is challenging the status quo by doing things like healing on Sabbath in Mark chapter 3, 1 to 6, it is said his family comes to collect him, fearing that he has lost his mind. Guess who is in that family? Guess who is part of that group? Mary. Mary thinking her son has lost it. So you see the pendulum swinging from both ends, from confidence to fear, from having faith to having doubt, the motherhood swinging. Yeah. And even in Mark 3:31, it says Mary isn't specifically named, but she shows up with Jesus' brothers to collect him because she thinks he's lost his mind of what he's doing. Finally, she watches her son being crucified. And in that moment, that prophecy that Simeon gave, that a sword will pierce your heart, to come, because it cuts her heart to see her son being crucified. And how painful it must have been to see, for a woman to see her son being killed. Not that he's dead, and of course that itself also is great, but that he's alive and he's being killed. I mean, that's like a mother's heart being torn into pieces. She's helpless. She can't do anything. So that happens, yeah. And then, but the curious question, or the mysterious question is this: where was Mary on resurrection day when Jesus rose again? Where was Mary? Now there are some Marys mentioned. There's Mary Magdalene and there is Mary, the mother of James, but this is supposed to be James and John. Really, not that Mary. Where was Mary? She's not seen anywhere. Did she disappear? Did she die out of grief over grief? John was there to comfort her. Did she go? I mean, she's kind of just disappears in the resurrection scenes. But it said in 1 Corinthians 15:6 that Jesus showed himself to 500 people. Yeah, he revealed himself to them. And in Acts 1, well, that's the clue, but here is the evidence. In Acts 1, chapter 12, verses 12 to 14, it is said, the apostles returned to Jerusalem from the hill, that is after the ascension, called the Mount of Olives, a Sabbath's day walk from the city. When they arrived, they went upstairs to the room because Jesus told them to wait, and the Holy Spirit you will receive. But they were saying those present were Peter, John, James, and Andrew, Philip, Thomas, Bartholomew, and Matthew, James, son of Alphaeus, and Simon the Zealot, Judas, the son of James. They all joined together constantly in prayer, along with the women and Mary, the mother of Jesus. Here she is, Mary, the mother of Jesus, and with his brothers. Yeah. So there she is. So she was part of the resurrection community. She had seen Jesus. She's there as a believer that he is risen. Yeah. But what is she doing? She's one of the attendees. She's just part of the crowd. And she's praying. She's now like, her part is kind of uh, done. And now she's slipping into oblivion, going into the back, disappearing into being part of the common crowd. Like saying, like John the Baptist, he must increase and I must decrease. I've done my part. He's fulfilled of it, and now she's one of the people. And it's such a powerful story from a woman, from a young teenage girl who takes upon herself to be the mother of Jesus Christ, the Son of God, and then, stepping back, having fulfilled her responsibility, you know, dedicating her life, and now slipping into the ground. It's a call of discipleship. Motherhood is not about being a biological mother. It's not about having a child. It's a call of discipleship. It's a role of through which you train yourself to be a disciple of Christ. It's a school of discipleship. Motherhood is a school of discipleship. And you are admitting into that. There's so much damage that is done when we refuse to learn from God and we think that motherhood is natural. We must become godly mothers. Yeah. And we must respect this calling. We must all be willing to take up this calling, even if it's men here. We must be willing to even play the role of a mother instead of saying it's your or your part. It's it's a calling of discipleship. It's a role. So your wife may be busy. She might not. You play the role of mother. Talk to them. It's not that the father always has to play a certain role of being, and not having any emotional connection or emotional and all. Go to your mother. What is this? What nonsense is this? You remember the prodigal son's father? He runs in his direction and kisses him. Very unlike a Jewish patriarch. No patriarch, head of the household, will ever run. Yeah, this is what we see God doing. God, because that old man is the imagery of God, running, hugging, kissing, very feminine. But that is how God expresses His love. God the Father is willing to be a mother, motherly love. How many men here are willing to obey God into that? So it's a call of discipleship for everyone, everyone. Yeah. Let's not be afraid of this. Let us accept it with reverence and say, Lord, make me a godly mother. May God bless all the mothers here today. Yeah?